With me now is Mark Morley, Director of Strategic Product Marketing for OpenText Business Network. Mark, thanks for joining us.
Hi, thank you for letting me join.
Yeah, tell us about the big trends that you're seeing right now. What's important in your world?
Well, I think in my world, personally, because I'm working with many supply chain companies around the world, the one topic everyone's talking about is the Internet of Things and how that can change their business on a truly global basis.
Okay.
So we're starting to speak with companies that want to use IoT in many different ways, but there are three key reasons why companies would want to adopt it. Mm-hmm. Firstly, they would adopt IoT more for improving visibility across their supply chain. And I would call this pervasive visibility, the ability to have connected devices so you know exactly where your shipment is anywhere in the world. The second area is around proactive replenishment. So, for example, in a retail store, you want to make sure you can replenish your shelving before those products run out. So, by connecting to our business network, which connects to over 600,000 companies around the world, we have the ability to make sure those shelves or the production operations, the warehouses, they remain full of goods and products at all times. Mm-hmm. The biggest area for IoT is around predictive maintenance. So the ability, for example, to determine when a serviceable product is about to fail, and you want to make sure that you could maximize the uptime of that product by replacing a faulty part or a component as quickly as possible. And the sensors on those connected devices connected into our business network can help procure those spare parts and deliver them to the maintenance centers as and when they require. So pervasive visibility, proactive replenishment, and predictive maintenance are really the three key areas today that companies are using IoT or looking to use IoT across their supply chains.
Okay, so tell me about IoT and analytics and how that joins together and you're going to help customers.
Yeah, so in terms of the analytics, and especially Magellan, which has been announced quite broadly this week around cognitive analytics, the capability to use analytics to determine inventory levels. So for example, in the retail example I mentioned a moment ago, if there are sensors on the retail store, you can actually monitor the consumption patterns as the goods are taken away from those retail stores, the shelving, and then you can actually determine a trigger point using the analytics environment to determine the best point to actually replenish those stores. And the same in a factory. You know, if you've got cars going down the production line, you want to make sure those parts are available to fit to those cars as they move down the production line.
Just in time,
in time production.
Right there.
And this is really where IoT can provide that extra level of visibility into what's happening in the production environment.
Okay, tell me about Covisint.
So Covisint's certainly an interesting company. They've been around for many years, and they were started by Ford, Chrysler, and General Motors in 2000. And around that time, there was a boom in the setup of market exchanges.
Yeah, the hubs and exchanges. Big deal, yeah.
And what companies wanted to do was have a seamless way to connect with suppliers anywhere in the world. So Covisint started as a market exchange for purely the automotive industry, and working with Ford, with Chrysler, GM, and other major car manufacturers at that time to help connect with their suppliers through the cloud anywhere in the world. And Covisint has actually shown through the testament of time that they have evolved their business, and now the last 18 months focusing on IoT. So it sort of brings an interesting proposition in terms of when that particular deal closes and becomes part of the OpenText Business Network. That will allow us to connect to those serviceable products, whether it's a car, a vehicle, a train, whatever that connected device is. We can connect that information, take the sensor information into our business network, and use that as part of the procurement process for ordering spare parts. So analytics, Covisint, business network, all working together to develop that IoT platform that many companies around the world are looking to develop at this moment in time.
Finally, I wanted to look towards the future a bit. Maybe you want to talk about Internet of Things, maybe you want to look a bit more broadly. It's up to you, but what are the big trends that are going to be really affecting the world and what you guys do?
So I think in 2010, everyone was talking about cloud, mobile, big data.
Yep.
And I think over the last few years, cloud has almost become commoditized. Many companies are not worried. It's just there. Companies are not worried about security and where the information is going. It's just there and it works. And that's what global companies need, that ability to get access to information anytime, any place, anywhere. And then we have IoT, we have cognitive analytics, but I think the next talking point is blockchain.
Right.
So blockchain seems to be getting on the words or the lips, should we say, of many financial services companies because it evolved out of the Bitcoin technology over the last 2 years.
Yep.
And we're just starting to have discussions with certain customers about supply chain use cases for blockchain.
Right.
So
it's not necessarily about money, it's about other applications.
It's about different ways of using blockchain technology.
Yeah.
So blockchain is essentially a database of information.
Distributed
ledger, etc.
Yep.
And so from a supply chain perspective, we can see great value around using blockchain for supply chain finance, for example.
Right.
But also, more importantly, to improve traceability of goods as they move across our supply chain.
Yeah.
So making sure, for example, that perishable goods are monitored as they move across the supply chain, and actually being able to add that information into a block, and then maybe determine if the goods have been damaged in any way. Can we refer back to that block to see at what point in the supply chain and who's responsible for that damage?
Yeah.
So we're just exploring at the moment where blockchain could potentially be used. But with IoT, with cloud, or with mobile, and with analytics and Magellan, we've got a lot of tools and capabilities that we can embrace and enhance our business network overall.
Okay, it's fascinating stuff, and we'll hear a lot more about all those things, I'm sure. Mark, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your time.